Welcome to Hometown Heroes, and welcome Mary Staffel, my co-host.
Hey, long time no see.
I know Mary's been kind of out of sight, but not out of mind for several weeks. She had a death in the family and had that to take care of, along with all the other stuff you take care of. I don't know how you juggle everything you juggle, but I think that you had the death in the family, and then still had Don Gray's birthday party to attend, and
Yeah, it's been it really had a couple of deaths in the family within 2 days. So we did have Don's party. So on the 28th of April, my husband's grandmother passed. She was 102, going on 103, or right around there. And we still have her memorial service coming up, and that will take me out. Not Memorial Day weekend, but the weekend after that, we'll be going to Missouri for that. You heard me say I'm really tired of getting on airplanes, right? But my aunt had been sick, as Rick and anybody that knows me knows. My aunt never got married, never had kids. She had 13 nieces and nephews, and she was my godmother. And when she got sick in the middle of February, I started, along with two of my cousins, taking turns going to Florida because none of us live there. And she doesn't have any family living there anymore after my dad passed. And we were taking turns going, making sure she was okay, because she was going from rehab to hospital to rehab to hospital. And she was just tired of it. She was ready to be done. She'd been pretty healthy her whole life. It's only been the last, few months that it's been like this. And she passed on April 30th, and we had her funeral service in Florida. So I had to go out for that. And then her body was taken back up to Chicago, where most of the family is. That's where all the family is from. And we had her actual chapel service and burial in Chicago last weekend. So the good thing was not this one that just ended, but the weekend before. And the good thing is, at least got to see most of the cousins, all but 3 of the 13. So 10 of us were there. And I haven't seen most of them in decades. Decades, and didn't even really have much communication with them. So it was nice to see. We went out that night. 6 of us went out that night and just had a really good time in Chicago. And went a couple of different places out there and just had a good time and got reconnected. And I'm hoping that we don't lose that connection again. Most of them still live up in that area. So it's been a little bit rough. And now we've lost the wife, two of the wives, but one, Jerry Brown, who does our Pledge of Allegiance every month. His wife very suddenly passed, and her services are coming up next week, Tuesday. And then one of our other veterans, Ed Barham, he passed very fast, and his services are on next Thursday. He was born in 1931, and he is a Korea veteran. So Air Force Korea veteran, and so his services will be coming up next week as well. So it's just been not a good first half of the year with some of the losses we've had. And
have another spouse of one of our roll call veterans passed away.
Long time.
She was there all the time.
Every month Edith was there, and Paul, her husband, Paul Sawyer, he just doted on her. He took such great care of her. And I know that was hard for her. He came to the very next luncheon, and Jerry Brown plans to be at the luncheon this Friday. They just, they go on and they need they need that family more than ever once that happens. So, and we got Al Chatwin got well enough to get honored by the Rangers on the 15th. So Thursday night, his daughter, Debbie, and his granddaughter, Amy, who come to the luncheons with him, along with our board member and director of fundraising, Debbie Dickinson, that Debbie took them to the Rangers game on Thursday night. So very cool. He was having the time of his life. And then Friday or Saturday, he got taken back to the hospital. So he's back in the hospital again. So everybody, please send up some prayers for Al Chatwin. We just celebrated his 99th birthday earlier this year. So let's send up some prayers.
Absolutely. And I was at the game Thursday night, but I didn't get a chance to go see them. So
Yeah. You were there with the Purple Heart group.
I was with the Purple Heart group.
Yeah.
Took some pictures, and I had a good time. It's always good. We were down in the bowels of that place, down in. It's really pretty deep down there.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of a little roadway through there, and George W., his motorcade came through there. We had to get up against the wall. That was interesting. So a lot of stuff's happened, and we got the summer coming up, and we'll get roll call this Friday.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. Today, I had the opportunity to meet with Melissa Dabi, and she's the executive director of the Airpower Foundation, and Wanda Cox. She is the chairman, and I asked her, do you want chairwoman or chairman or chairperson? No, just chairman. So I was able to sit down with them for a little bit and interview them and talked about some great things that they've been doing and some great things in the future. So we'll play that right now, and then Mary and I will catch you on the other side. This is Rick Irving with Hometown Heroes, and I'm very honored today to have Melissa Dabi. She's executive director of Airpower Foundation, and Wanda Cox, and Wanda is the chairman of the Airpower Foundation. So welcome to Hometown Heroes.
Thank you. Thank you for having us today.
Yeah, thank you, Rick.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, we've got the golf tournament starting real soon. You've been out there today, and always someplace. So
it is a very busy schedule that keeps us going. It is a very busy schedule that keeps us going out there for sure.
Yeah, and so at the golf tournament, the Airpower Foundation and the Fort Worth Airpower Council are working at the Patriot.
Yes.
At
the Patriot Outpost.
At the Patriot Outpost, and that is for military.
Yes,
correct?
If you have a military tickets are free out there, and parking is free for our military and veterans, and then you can come into the military outpost and enjoy lunch and also refreshments.
Okay, and tell us about the Airpower Foundation. What's your mission statement?
The Airpower Foundation, it exists to serve our past, present, and future military and their unique needs that, they have and their families. So it's not just our active servicemen or veterans or our future military. It includes their family members as well.
Okay, and veterans, the past, like Don Graves, we helped celebrate his 100th birthday just a few weeks ago.
Right. So our past, what that includes is, like you said, all of our veterans, and every veteran has a different need, right? So maybe they need some mental health resources or counseling or family retreats or maybe even some family counseling. So we provide those opportunities for veterans to have that opportunity. Maybe it's service dogs or even mobility devices. We also provide opportunities for veterans to gather together like we do at the Armed Forces Bowl for the Purple Hearts. And just recently we were at the Tuskegee Veterans Home that just opened. And so we provided some welcome bags for the new veterans that were.
That's good.
Yeah.
And like for our active duty and a reserve component, you help them whenever they deploy, you fix bags for them, and then kind of watch over the families that are left here during deployment.
Yes, that's a big responsibility. The Airpower Foundation is, with our 25 years of being in the community, along with the Fort Worth Airpower Council, of course, taking care of our military and our military families here at the Joint Reserve Base. That does include making sure the folks that are deployed know that their families at home are being taken care of, and we take that responsibility very seriously, all the way through to, our food pantry that we have at the base. That's been an ongoing need, and we support it through the community support. And I know Melissa has a few things she can say about that as well.
Yeah, so the food pantry, it started during COVID. We were all struggling during that time, and it was just a different time in our country and really the world. And the base had a need, and they reached out to Airpower and said, "Hey, we have some food insecurities here. Can you help us?" And of course, Airpower's answer and Airpower Council was yes. Let's do what we can. And so we created the food pantry, and we still support it today. We have this, and it's not just Airpower. We have several organizations that provide resources to help keep that food pantry stocked. And we have a committee now that's set up and going throughout the community and setting up drives to help our servicemen.
I know that Roll Call, they have a drive for the food pantry several times a year and just get truckloads of food.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
And I think that's one thing that's so great about what we do in this community. We really do like to collaborate with all the other nonprofits in the area because we're only better together, right?
that's right. And we've got a video we're going to play about the food pantry.
Great.
And people that want to donate, not just food, but can they donate maybe money to go toward gift cards? Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. So you can donate anytime on our website. There's a link. You can just make a donation and designate it to go to the food pantry, and that's exactly where it'll go.
And that's airpowerfoundation.org
Yes.
is the website, and that's where they can go to make those donations.
Absolutely. Yeah, and every dollar helps. I mean, $15 goes a long way when you're buying support and food for the military.
And if a organization might want to get involved and do a food drive, then you can help them get that organized and arrange to have it delivered to the food pantry.
Absolutely. We have a really wonderful committee, and they work with other community leaders and companies and individuals who want to do a drive. It's great. I mean, it's an easy way to get involved and to bring awareness to some of the needs that are right here in our backyard.
And those are volunteers that are doing that.
Volunteers.
And, with nonprofit organizations, the money part is a big factor. I mean, because you can't have an organization do much if you don't have funds, and you need donors, and you need supporters, and you need fundraisers. But more than anything else, you really need a lot of volunteers sometime to carry out the work part of taking those funds and making things happen.
Yes.
And Airpower Foundation's got a remarkable core of volunteers and a great leader in Patty. She's a great organizer and gets those volunteers together. And it's not like she's cracking the whip or anything. I mean, she makes it fun to volunteer.
Yeah, Patty's been doing that a long time with Airpower Foundation, and she does have the gift. I think all of our volunteers see that she's there with a servant's heart, just like the rest of us, and in there working alongside them. So I have to say, you're right, Rick. Our volunteers are the lifeblood of Airpower Foundation. Without them, we couldn't have our events. We couldn't have the things that we do out there in the community. And, last year, speaking of, sponsors and all of that stuff, it was a rough year in the nonprofit world to raise money. So, that being said, we had, not as much, to fundraising that has happened. But we were still in the community. We were still giving out grants where they're needed. We were still out there collaborating with all of the other organizations and making sure nothing fell through the cracks. And for that, we were so honored to receive the 2024 Distinguished Service to Veterans Award from Mayor Maddie Parker and the City of Fort Worth that I just give all of the credit to our wonderful board, our advisors, our ambassadors, and all of our volunteers made that happen.
It really takes a team, in a village to do that, to make
It really
that happen.
does, yes.
Because Airpower Foundation touched so many lives around the world. And let's talk a little bit about things. How can people get involved to be a volunteer with Airpower Foundation? And then, people really sometimes get confused between the Airpower Foundation and the Fort Worth Airpower Council, which we're all members of, the council and part of the Airpower Foundation. But we do have some memberships available in the Fort Worth Airpower Council.
Yes.
And that organization kind of is the one that goes out to NASJRB and to some of the Army installations around, and is the liaison between the different units and our organization and your organization, the Airpower Foundation. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. The council has a very long history in the community. 1958, they became an organization, and with civic leaders along with the base leadership. At the time, they formed a 501c4 organization, and that's an advocacy group and a volunteer organization. Basically, they were able to give discounts, help with, personally help with different things, but they couldn't raise money. So in 1999, they decided they really needed to raise more funds, and that was establishing a 501c3 organization, which is the Airpower Foundation. And in doing that, we have, we're two separate organizations, but we have the same mission, right? We're here to support our military here locally, our base, their families, and they do have great volunteers in the Fort Worth Airpower Council, and they support all of the events that the foundation puts on to be able to raise the funds, much like you said, that are needed to support the missions that we have and the programs out there doing the great work and touching those lives of those families. So it all works together.
And you do have a lot of different functions, different events that people can participate in. We had one recently at the Medal of Honor Museum.
We did.
And had a great afternoon there. Had 4 or 5 Medal of Honor recipients and had hors d'oeuvres, and then got to listen to them tell some of their stories and the story about how the Medal of Honor Museum came to Arlington.
Yes.
And the Airpower Foundation's fingerprints were all over that through Sid Epps
Yes.
and all his work.
Yes, the Airpower Foundation, between Sid Epps, who was the chairman at the time, and one of our board members, Doc Ballard, who is a Medal of Honor recipient, they helped to bring the Medal of Honor museum to Arlington through the mayor then was Jeff Williams and some other civic leaders in Arlington that really just spearheaded that project and brought it to life. And it is a beautiful museum. It is full of education, and it has been so well done to tell the stories of the recipients. And then they have a whole arm of where the kids and the young people in our community will be able to come and visit and learn, and learning centers. So I encourage everyone to go and visit the museum. It is so special to have that in our community.
And what are some other events that we have that people can get involved in?
We have a lot. I'll let Melissa go first.
We'll start with the first one coming up, and that is starting in June, and it's called The Walk, and it's to raise awareness for veteran suicide. Yep. Wanda has our shirt on, and on the back it says to fight veteran suicide. And for those of you who don't know, there's a number out there that is provided by the DOD, and it's 22. And that's what the number that they say that's the number of veterans that commit suicide every day, every single day. And we all know that number is probably much higher than that. And so we want to do our part. I mean, it's a hard topic to talk about. It's not, hey, let's go have a party and talk about, veteran suicide. But it is important, and it is something that we need to bring out from the shadows. We need to make it a topic that we can all talk about, because it touches every single one of us. And it touches not that even that military or that veteran, it touches that spouse, those children. And we need to provide valuable resources for those families to be able to maybe understand and have the tools to support, their spouse during this process. And, it's not just Airpower doing this. We have several organizations coming together to participate in this. It's a 22-mile walk throughout the month of June, so you can spread it out. It's a virtual walk, and you can go again to airpowerfoundation.org to sign up. And we're having a launch party on June 1st at Hop-In Bar. We have Kirk Howells and Austin Alsup. They're going to come play some music for us, and we're going to take our first little walk around the block. Yeah,
first mile.
And we're really excited about this because when I first joined Airpower, I was really it was crazy when I first joined. It was like nonstop, and it hasn't slowed down one bit.
It hasn't.
And I love
Wanda keeps you busy.
She does. But I love every single minute of it. But I'll tell you, the more time that I spent with veterans, and I have some friends that are veterans, and hearing their stories and the struggles that they deal with, I can't sleep at night sometimes. I go to bed thinking about it. I wake up thinking about it. It's like, what can we do to change this? And I know this isn't going to solve the problem, but maybe it'll open some doors, and maybe we can save some lives through this.
It makes awareness, and it maybe helps some dialogue get made that might not have been made.
Yeah.
Because, there's not just the person that would take their own life, but then the family. It's just a ripple effect throughout the family and the community and friends. And, it's so difficult to go through that process, and it's good to have help. Terry and Elizabeth Burgess have the Gold Star Parents Retreat, and they've opened it up not just to military that have gotten killed in action, but those military members that have taken their own life. So, it's really a great place for those parents whose sons and daughters took their own life to come together to be with others because the grief is
it's real.
the same. It's doesn't matter. It's it affects the families the same way. So
Yeah, and we really encourage people who are going to walk with us through the month of June to share their stories. We're going to be following stories on social media. We want people to submit their stories. We have a wall of honor, so if you have a loved one that has lost their life to this battle, we want to still honor them. We want to share their stories. We want to celebrate them because their life mattered, and we want their families to know and the country to know that their life mattered. And we can also, if you are a survivor of suicide, we want to celebrate that as well. So you
Absolutely.
can definitely join our Wall of Honor. And all the funds that we raise through this event, I'm very excited to say this, is that we're going to turn it right back around within a couple of months, or within a month, really, less than a month. And, you know, we want to give away 2 service dogs. We want to provide some retreats for families. So it's going to go right back into the veteran community.
That's good. Just a word to the wise, to people that procrastinate, don't wait until June 30th to do that 22 miles. So
I'll be walking a lot.
You wanna
And
do-
what's really wonderful, even at our launch party, we're going to have some, like Mesa Springs will be there, resource recovery. They're going to be providing tools. VA may be out there providing some resources and tools. And there's this set of questions that you ask someone, and it determines where they are on a scale of their suicide ideation, I guess. And so it gives you the tools and the solutions or the steps to do what's next. Because a lot of times we don't know what to say, we don't know what to ask, and then we don't know what to do. So we're going to have those resources available on June 1st.
absolutely. And we have the Patriot Roundup coming July 31st.
Yeah, back to back.
Back to
That's how
back.
we like it at Airpower. Like to stay busy.
And that's going to be a great evening. And that's at the Cowtown Coliseum.
It is.
And the famous historic Fort Worth Stockyards. And we had
Right on the dirt.
This is the second annual. Whenever I went there, I thought, this is amazing, because I know how soft that dirt is when they have rodeos. They had that so packed down, it was as hard as the floor here. It's amazing. So it's amazing. We had a great evening, a lot of people from a lot of different places. That's what's so fun about going to places, because, you know, like we are kind of plugged in to these people here and these people here, but we have all these other friends in all these organizations, and we go to things like that, and all of a sudden you say, oh, there's so-and-so from here, and, you know, so that's nice to see everybody.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a homecoming. And what are we going to do that night?
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I have a couple of big announcements, but first let me just tell you a little bit about that program that night. And we are going to be celebrating and elevating the stories of our Native Americans and the role that they played in our wars. So Navajo Code Talkers and then Choctaw, I've learned through this process that they were actually the very first code talkers that existed. So we want to share those stories. We're going to have some cultural dances and war songs, and they're coming down from Oklahoma to provide those for us. It's going to be a wonderful night, and we're all going to, again, it goes back to education. Let's share and let's teach our
Absolutely.
communities about the role Native Americans played in our wars, and what a resource they are and how valuable they are to us. And it's time for us to pay that back to them and honor them and say thank you. And I'm so thrilled that we'll be able to do this through the Patriot Roundup.
And there's a place on your website at airpowerfoundation.org, airpowerfoundation.org. There's a place there that you can sign up, buy tickets, buy a table,
Yeah,
buy
our
2
tables
tables.
are going fast, so you better hurry up and get
Yeah.
your table. And I can release this now. I just got a confirmation from Kevin Fallon. He's the chair person of this event, that our guest speaker for that night will be Moses Brings Plenty. For those of you may know him as by Mo, and he's from the Yellowstone cast, and so we're just thrilled to have him, and that he is going to come and be part of this event. So it's very exciting.
Kevin's kind of a good asset, isn't he? He knows everybody.
He does know everything.
He knows everybody. I go places sometime and I think, well, he's probably in this part of the world, and he walks in the door.
He's everywhere.
Yeah.
He
So we're
is.
thankful for him, and we're just really, again, it goes back to our volunteers and the people that support us and that are helping us. You know, it's not just me or Wanda that orchestrate these things. It's the people that are sitting around the table who have jobs and have families and have life outside of Airpower, but they give so much time and their talent to make these events happen, and we're so thankful for them.
And you know, the Airpower Foundation, it helps a lot of people, and it helps change a lot of people, and it just does a lot for a lot of people. And there's 3 people right here that each have a story about how they were touched by Airpower and kind of got hooked. You know, I mean, it's like the first time I ever went there, I just went to take pictures of the American Airlines Credit Union was giving a family that I knew a vacation to Disney, and I went there to take pictures, and I said, I don't know what I've got to do to get in this deal, but I want to be here all the time. And you came through the Patriot Roundup, didn't you? Is that?
Actually, was somewhat. So a friend of mine went to Patriot Roundup, and it's a friend of Kevin's, and said, you have to meet this person because she's all about nonprofits. And then I connected with Wanda, and here I sit now. So,
And Wanda, it was a date for you, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. My husband took me on one of our first dates to Skyball, and that's the premier event of Airpower Foundation. And I got to see a man who had lost the use of his limbs in a helicopter accident receive an iBot mobility device. And just like you, that touched my heart so much that it changed my life that night. I committed myself to the mission of Airpower Foundation. I'm like, what can I do? Just like you. And I was with some POWs, the Vietnam POWs last night, and one of the wives came up to me and she goes, Wanda, you were the coat check lady 18 years ago when I first met you. And I said, yes, I've had every job there is with Airpower Foundation. And now, 18 short years later, I'm chairman. So there you have it. And just enjoying every minute, being able to continue to help the wonderful families out there and change lives.
And you meet so many great Americans.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I wasn't there, I don't know how many years ago when Jimmy Doolittle was there, but it's a Skyball. But I was watching a movie and it was about some of the things Jimmy Doolittle did. But we have the opportunity to be around all these people that have sacrificed so much for our country.
Yes,
Whether it's
an honor.
whether it's a private that's just going in the military, or somebody like a Medal of Honor recipient, or a Vietnam veteran, that served over in Vietnam.
Yes.
But we get to rub shoulders with so many great people.
Yes, I'm just taken aback by the people I've been able to meet over the years, right? Just like everybody that comes to our events. That's why we wanted to have the Medal of Honor recipients, our friends at the museum, to hear their stories there, right? And we can do the same thing at every event. I want all of the civilians, all of our new friends to come and meet them, because I know there's some statistic out there. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, if that, for most people, to meet a Medal of Honor recipient, and we get to call them our friends, right? So it is such an honor to be able to do that, and a privilege to serve them and honor them in the way that we can, and that is to elevate them at our events.
And that's true about most people never ever see a Medal of Honor recipient, but we have them that are our friends.
Lots of good stuff over the years, Rick, that's for sure. And that I can guarantee anybody that's listening that comes to Skyball or Patriot Roundup, you will leave a different person. That is really what happens. You left a different person. I've left a different person. And it's made us better people, better humans, to be able to give back every day is what we do. And
we've got a big announcement today.
We do?
I think we do.
just a little one.
I'm going to say it's Skyball. I'm so excited. We will be having Skyball October 25th. It's our 23rd Skyball, and we've done many great things over the years. And this year we're going to be celebrating the 250th birthday of our Army, Navy, and Marines. So it's going to be a huge celebratory year. We have our tradition, our respect, our honoring, and then the big celebration of the birthdays.
And so many people sometimes just think, oh, this is just a big party. But what it is a fundraiser to be able to raise the resources to give all the things that we give to our military veteran community. So
yes.
It's not just a party, but it's a party with a purpose.
It is a party with a purpose. It's I love that term because we will celebrate. It is a big year to do that. We're, as always, putting together a wonderful program, and that evening you'll get again to meet some great heroes in the room. We'll honor them. We will tell the stories of where some of the funding goes, because we try to keep it shorter, than all night, and because we can go long, but we will just make sure our community knows that the funds that they do give to us through our events, through Skyball, through our year-round giving, are making an impact. And that's what people want to know, and we want to make sure that we tell them.
Will we have some new recruits that take the oath of enlistment there?
Yes. Oh, yes, we will. That's one of the biggest things that I think I love, too, about our mission. And I consider that our future, right? That education piece, that future piece of what we support is bringing the recruits together in a big atmosphere, a big space, to be able to be recognized by our community, because it's less than 2% that raise their hand now to take that oath, right? So I want to encourage them to stay in, to make a career out of it, whatever they're going to do with their lives, but just for them raising their hand that night, that's a huge deal, and I want to make sure they're always recognized for that.
And we did that at the Fort Worth Rodeo,
Yep.
Stock Show and Rodeo, and that, it lets people see that, because not many people get to witness a new recruit taking the oath of enlistment. But then it also brings a lot of honor to those recruits for doing that. So
We also did it at the Arlington Veterans Day Parade. So we did an oath of enlistment there as well. So there are several times throughout the year that we're able to do that, and it is just so humbling to watch that. It's incredible.
now the Skyball, airpowerfoundation.org, are the tickets on sale now?
Yes, yep,
Okay.
you can go there for tickets and seats, pricing and different things. It's all out there. If you know anybody, you can call Melissa or I directly, or go to info@airpowerfoundation.org, which is out there under Contact Us, if you want to be a part of it in a bigger way, because we have lots of great sponsorship opportunities, and they're all on the website as well, airpowerfoundation.org.
And we have a video about the Skyball, so let's watch that video.
Okay, it's great.
Okay, that was a great video, and Cameron put that together. That's our social media guru.
Oh, yes, she's good.
Director. She is a gem. I mean, she takes care of the Fort Worth Airpower Council and takes care of the Airpower Foundation, and even, I think she does some work for Holidays and Heroes.
She does. She is very much out there. She loves her military and military families as well.
And at Skyball, she's the one that runs the whole show there. So, I
She
mean,
does put all the
that is,
program assets together.
that's
She does
impressive.
a great job.
That's impressive. Are we going to do some more Medal of Honor interviews during the Sky Ball, like the day of?
That's the plan,
Okay.
yes. We would have our education outreach portion. And we have a wonderful, this is our second year to have our rodeo royalty in place. They are part of our education outreach program where these young women compete to be a part of our court. Here in June, they are going to 3 different bases and then on to Nashville, but they go to Barksdale Air Force Base. They'll be going to a Navy base and then to Fort Campbell. And they meet with the military families, they read stories, they do stick horse races, they just really have a good time while promoting the mission of the Airpower Foundation. And then they do this all year long. They go to different events for us. They talk about Airpower Foundation and our mission. And then they'll receive a scholarship at the end of their reign. And they have done great things for Airpower Foundation.
They've been a real asset, and thanks to Rex King and Donna Snow King for getting us tied in with them.
Oh, yeah.
Because not long ago, we had a birthday party at the Snow King Ranch, and the royalty court was there, and we had a Medal of Honor recipient, Bob Patterson. We celebrated his 77th birthday and had a rotor show, or whatever they call it.
What was it?
Showdio.
Showdio. Kind of a little rodeo. I kind of think I could have done some of that.
You think
That
so?
steer, like that steer, you know.
Which one, the goat thing?
No,
Yeah.
where they got the steer and.
We'll sign you up next time, Rick.
No, I don't know if my wife would like that or not. But the Sky Ball is on the calendar, and if you haven't been to a ball like that at a ballpark, it's something. And one year it was at the ballpark on a football field because they were going to play a football game the next day. So
Yes.
you never know what you're going to experience whenever you go to the Sky Ball.
That's right, but it'll be something life-changing for sure.
It will. Well, there's a lot of exciting things, and we've got the Colonial this week, and I'll be announcing all these other things. We've got the Women's Veterans Luncheon. I think that's June 3rd, and
Yes.
you're a sponsor of that. And also that monument, the Women's Veterans Memorial.
Yes, it's in D.C. That's part of our mission for the June 3rd is your service is your voice. And so if you're a woman veteran, we're here to celebrate you. Women's Veterans Day is in June. We're doing our luncheon a little earlier. So June 3rd, it's a free luncheon. Just you can come to our info.airpowerfoundation.org again and let us know that you'd like to be a part of that. But there is a huge memorial in D.C. that you can go to and record your story, and it's so important. It's a big responsibility for everyone to be able, no matter what you did, no matter what service, no matter what war, whatever you did, it is important for you to share that story.
Absolutely.
So we're encouraging
When we
them.
went to the Ross Pro, what was the name of that? The military women's Toast to Women's Military. A couple of veterans got up and spoke, and one of the ladies, she acted like it was no big deal. I was doing this, and I was a POW, and and like just grazed over it like it was nothing. And I think that's what a lot of women do. They just don't think that it was that big a deal, but it is. And so every woman veteran needs to go to that site, needs to record their story, because it's important, and we want to hear it, and we want to share it.
Absolutely. And they could also go to another site, and that's our Hometown Heroes, and tell their story here. Because, we have women veterans that do tell their story. Mary, of course, is a veteran. My wife's a veteran. And so, we would just encourage everybody to tell their story. And sometimes you don't have to get on a podcast like this to tell the story, but just be sure that you make a recording or writing and share with your family so they'll kind of have an idea about what you did in the service. So
Yes, very important.
a lot of good things happening.
Of course.
And it's been a real pleasure to talk to you all today and have this beautiful backdrop. This is a little bit of Texas. And I'm looking forward to the next event we have, and we still got a lot of work to do before we get to Skyball. So
Every day is a good day.
every day is a good day. So thank y'all so much for being on Hometown Heroes.
I really do want to thank all of our donors and our sponsors that have been longtime sponsors or just new to our organization. Thank you. My heart goes, just thanks you so much for your generosity, because without you, none of this would be possible. I do look forward to seeing everybody at any of our events coming up, or all of our events. We're going to have a wonderful summer, nice and full of great opportunities to support our military and see all of our friends. So I look forward to seeing you, and have a wonderful day.
We're back, and Mary, she was out in NASJRB in the Air Force as a first sergeant. And so she has seen firsthand all the things that the community does for the military and their families, and especially the Fort Worth Airpower Council and the Airpower Foundation. So tell us a little bit about how you witnessed things happening and the support that they gave you and your fellow airmen and airwomen.
All airmen. We're all airmen, that's for sure. But yeah, so I went back in the military in 2005 and joined the 301st out here at the Joint Reserve Base, and it was, I think, the first or second year that we had a annual banquet. So I came back in and started my first UTA weekend, unit training assembly. Some folks call that drill. That's usually the Guard says drill. The Air Force should say UTA because that's the difference. But
sophisticated.
Yes. So that in February was always the annual awards banquet. So when it came time for that banquet and they were trying to raise the money and get the money together so that the younger airmen, the airmen that were lower ranking, didn't have to pay as much, they kept talking about the Airpower Foundation. And of course, I was just back in a few months, didn't really understand all of that. And later that year, then they had Skyball, and they had tickets available for folks to go to Skyball. And they're like, hey, we want to send you and your husband to Skyball this year. And I'm like, well, what is that? So again, another Airpower Foundation event. That was when I really then started to understand, oh, this is an organization that really does help take care of the military members out here. So whether it was some event that we had going on that we needed the additional funding, because you only want to charge the junior airmen and junior NCOs. So if you got an E1 to an E5, they may not be able to pay as much as your senior NCOs and your officers. So to make it a little bit more manageable, but still put on a great event, the Airpower Foundation came in and really gave a lot to these different things. So it was then that I started to see it. And then year after year, the Airpower Foundation offered seats to the people serving. So we were able to send deserving airmen. So if you had an airman that just was knocking it out of the ballpark, doing a great job, then you could say, hey, I'd like for my airman to be recognized by given the opportunity to go to this very fancy event. I went one year and Gary Sinise was the entertainment, and it was, that was a pretty cool thing. I'm like, wow, this is pretty neat. But they really did a lot. And the Airpower Council as well. I think they really worked in tandem. And even since leaving and retiring in 2020, I've seen the work that the Airpower Foundation and the council continue to do, because I stay engaged and active out there on the base and with the wing. And they continue to serve the members that are out there. And we all know how integral that base is to our economy here locally. People may not get it. And I know I talked about it with somebody this last week, is that when I was in my break in service, my part between part 1 and part 2, as Colonel Paget likes to call it, I was with Applebee's and I ran multiple restaurants. And one of the restaurants that I had was at one there by Ridgemar Mall. And it opened when the base was closed, which I kind of wonder. I lived in Waco. I wasn't really in tune with what was happening up here. And, but the base closed and they opened the restaurant and the sales were dismal. They were, I mean, it was hard to get people in that restaurant. It was one of the slowest restaurants that we had in the Texas region for the corporation. And when the base reopened and as it got more and more active and it brought in more and more people, that restaurant is now performing very well from what I understand. So I left Applebee's in 2005 when I came back in the military, but anytime I've talked to anybody that has continued to work for them, and you drive by there, you see cars there all the time. So it clearly has a big impact on our community to have that base there and have it supported. So we need to do everything that we can to continue to support the hard work that they're doing out there.
Absolutely, because it's a big economic driver for all of North Texas, if not even farther than that.
Yep. And anytime we had an airman in real need, I thought it was pretty neat, because if we had an airman that was in real need and you took it to the Chiefs group, then the Chiefs group would go to the Airpower Foundation and they would say, you know, hey, we've got an airman who has this X, Y, or Z need. And they would turn around and see how the Airpower Foundation could help them. And the Airpower Foundation had enough tentacles that whether it was financial or it was something different, they had enough tentacles with the community that they could help people in ways that we maybe couldn't, because when you're actively serving, as we all know, your hands are a little tied on everything you can do. Everything has to be run through legal. Everything has to, you know, you have to make sure it's within all of the right directives and everything else. And sometimes you just need to get somebody some help in a hurry.
And one thing about the integrity of programs that Airpower Foundation has and other organizations that we work with, like Holidays and Heroes, they work closely with the base. It's not like, oh, we got some money, let's just throw it out there.
Right.
You know, they want to make sure that the needs is going where it's going and to the person that it's going to. And so it's not just a carte blanche deal. You know, they get with the first sergeants and the upper NCOs that know the people, and sometimes they'll come back and say, you know, we really don't need you to help this person. So
right. As a senior NCO, so a first sergeant is part of the senior NCO group also, but as a first sergeant, you know, if somebody came to me and they said they had a need, then I had an obligation to make sure that I was not putting forth somebody who wasn't truly in need. And sometimes you did have to say to them, look, you're just not managing your assets well, or, you know, you're taking advantage. Sometimes people, I know we don't want to believe it, but sometimes people will take advantage. And that happens. It's very few people. It's a minimal amount, but it does happen. And so we always made sure that if we were asking for help for something, that it was really important. So the picnic. So every year we did a family day, brought the families out and set up games for the kids. And it just really was a neat time, so that the families now understand why once a month we're taking daddy or mommy away from them. They get to see where they work. They get to see what they do. And the council and the foundation were always very valuable in helping with that, and continue to be today, whether it's the family day picnic for the 301st or the Patriot Games or any events that the Navy's doing, the Marines. You know, there's every branch out there on base: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. You got them all, and they really do make sure that they do something for everybody as much as they can.
And for a lot of those events like the Patriot Games and the family days, it's a great opportunity to go volunteer. So
Yes.
you can be a part of it, and you can see firsthand how the community and how the Airpower Foundation and the Airpower Council work together to make those days so special for our families and our military and our military. So
Yeah.
great organization, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's neat. I think the last 3 years we've taken several of our folks out, the Airpower Foundation, the Council, Holidays and Heroes, Roll Call. We've all taken people out there and to work those events so that, and really you think about it, we ask our membership to sign up to come out there to volunteer. They have to get vetted, of course, to get on base, but we bring them out there, and that frees up the airmen or in the case of when we're doing it for the other branches, the soldiers, sailors, Marines, it frees them up to not have to work that booth or to work the food stations and that sort of thing. So it really, allows them to be more active participant rather than standing there working a booth or a game. So it's really a neat opportunity. And everybody from Roll Call that went and has volunteered says, I want to do this again next year. So a lot of those people just go, I want to do this every single year, because they also get to interact with those airmen and the soldiers, sailors, Marines. They get to interact and they get to hear stories. What are they doing? They just had the Navy 5 and 10 miler out there a couple weekends, same weekend as Don's birthday party. So there were people out there volunteering, and they were able to actually interact with a wide berth of people, whether it was those people serving, veterans, or just civilians in the community that enjoy the opportunity to go run on the flight line.
That's right.
Because some people don't get to do that in their whole life. You don't get to go out on a flight line on a base. You don't get to, experience some of this stuff. And so it's a great opportunity to bring people together.
Some people may be able to hear in the background, but one of my chickens is really making a lot of noise. So
I can't hear your chicken. I'm waiting for, if it, anything disturbs my dog, she might start barking. They'll hear that.
But yeah, just the opportunity to be able to get that feeling you get whenever you go volunteer and help somebody too is something that is provided for the volunteers, because that's a special part of volunteering, is that the satisfaction that you get. So Airpower Foundation and the council, they did a lot of great work out there. And this week is roll call, so we have you got your hands full again for another roll call. But
yeah, I think we're at about 492 RSVPs, so we definitely have filled it up. And as people cancel, which this is what happens the couple of days before the luncheon, folks will get sick. Something will happen in the family. They have to go take care of, that sort of thing. We'll get some cancellations. So if anybody is interested in coming to the lunch and they didn't get in time, they have to email us at info@roll-call.org. Unlike being on the base, if I have a cancellation, I can actually slide them into that spot because it's not on base, so I don't have to worry about it. But so we're back at Willow Park for at least May and June. So I know that we have had to change dates. So those folks out there looking at our previous printed materials that see the dates on there, just keep in mind that May is the 23rd. That's this Friday. And June is the 20th. We had to move up a week from what we had originally on the calendar because the church had some things going on. So they asked us to move the dates both of these weeks. And then July, we don't have a lunch, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get back to Birchman soon. But if not, we'll still be at Willow Park. It's been a great place to be. Lots of space out in the lobby so we can can use that space for, people to come set up that are nonprofits that serve our military and our veterans. But just really going to be a good lunch. We're going to have Jeff Williams, the prior Arlington mayor, will be our guest speaker. And he's going to be talking predominantly about why he wanted to get involved with bringing the National Medal of Honor Museum to Arlington and how that kind of all came about. But that's going to be his primary topic. I'm sure some other things may come up, but that will be the primary topic. And of course, we'll do a little extra honoring of our 2 World War II guys that will be in attendance. Oh, well, Don won't be there. I guess we won't be honoring Don. But Vern Mitchell will be there. He turned 104. He turned 104 on May 5th. So we'll honor him at the luncheon as well.
And this in July would be Bill McIntyre's 105th birthday, wouldn't it?
It would have been, yes.
Because we always missed it. And he was so excited to cut that cake at the base every year. So
yeah. So we just didn't have anyone cut the cake this year. We couldn't replace Bill. He's so precious. I was looking through some of the pictures in the gallery, and if people haven't gone out to our website and looked at the pictures from the aprons, they should do that. And you'll see Bill in there in at least one of them with that big saber cutting that massive cake. And he had a smile the size of Texas on his face. It was so precious. But I look through those pictures and sometimes it breaks my heart to see the guys that we've lost. But boy, they sure lived amazing lives.
Talk about pictures, and, it's been a real honor to take pictures at roll call. And I was visiting a widow not just last week, and I was looking at her house and went into the bedroom. There was a picture I took of her husband, and so leaving the front door, right by the front door was another picture, and that's such an honor to be able to capture those moments in those veterans' lives. So roll call, just always watch your email, and because that's when you're going to figure out that, hey, I better make that reservation because the date's not the same. So just be aware that the dates have changed. And hopefully next month, Kay Harmon and Tyler, my son, and I will be taking portraits again, but Kay isn't available this week. So anyway, we've got that, and we've got the roll call initiative here to sponsor a veteran. And there's a QR code there for $20. You can support a veteran, buy his lunch, and support our mission. And then we have a volunteer, and this is this week, the 21st, and this is an Airpower and Fort Worth Airpower Council. It's just a little happy hour for their volunteers, and it's going to be at the Blackland Distillery, 5:30 to 7:30. So, and then the big event's coming up May the 26th, and our co-host here, Mary Stafford, is going to be the keynote speaker, and I've seen the stack of notes she's got for that, and I think you probably finish in an hour and a half. I mean,
oh my goodness, an hour and a half. I don't think so.
No rain and cool weather, right?
Yeah. They gave me 10 to 15 minutes, and I think that will be plenty.
And this 96 Fort Worth Memorial Day service at Mount Olivet Cemetery, it's a great way to honor those that we've lost.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's really one of the most moving events that I've seen for Memorial Day. And I think a lot of people still get confused, right? On, what is Memorial Day? And I think that's a part of, I want to talk that day a little tiny bit about that, but really, I think it's a day to honor so many amazing people and understand, more than just a history lesson, but hey, these are some people in your own community, people that you see in your interactions that you may not even realize are Gold Star families that are, and what does that mean to be a Gold Star family? And, we've highlighted those folks on the show, but I think that you can't overstate the importance of that, because this is really what Memorial Day is about, is remembering remember those 13 that were killed at Abbey Gate. Remember all of those that have, that raised their right hand, just like you and I did. And they did pay that price. They did that check was cashed. So these are important events. So if you can't make it to Mount Olivet, I would encourage you to try, because really there is so much that happens with the laying of the wreaths and the bagpipes, and it's just so special the way that they do it. So it's an hour ceremony, and it's well worth that hour. Then you can go and you can finish the rest of your day and do your cookouts and that sort of thing. And in fact, I got a note from a group that is doing something that day from 1 to 4. So if you don't have anything else to do, they're going to have songs, prose, and poetry at the Best Theater on May 26th, and we'll be putting that out. It's a free public event, and it's just sounds like it'll be a neat thing. So we'll send that out too. But there will be a lot of things going on in communities all around you, whether it's at this cemetery or another cemetery, or at the veteran memorial parks all around the different communities, the different cities. But find something and get out and honor those who have paid that ultimate price. And you still have plenty of daylight left to enjoy the rest of the day.
Absolutely. And then Airpower Foundation is going to have the walk. It's 22 miles in the month of June. They're going to have their kickoff June the 1st at Hopping Fort Worth. So you can go to their website and find out more about that. It's a way to bring awareness to the 22 veterans that die each day from suicide. And then the Women's Veterans Luncheon is Tuesday, June the 3rd. And that's out by the VA clinic. It's South Fort Worth off of I-20. And Mary and I'll be there. We're going to do a live broadcast there in lieu of doing the regular podcast. So we'll meet some women veterans and talk about their service. So that'll be a great event. And then save the date, July the 31st, the Patriot Roundup. And this is going to be a great night with the Airpower Foundation. And then the big event is coming up October the 25th, and that's the Airpower Foundation Sky Ball. So a lot of great things happening. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be a part of some of that, if not all of it. So
yeah. And if you even are thinking about going to the Sky Ball, definitely block your calendars off, because that's a really neat event. It's something that you should experience, and the funds that are raised go to great causes. So really block your calendar, look for the link to open in order to buy your seats or your tables, and get a group of people together. Buy a table. Take your friends and go enjoy the night. The music at the end is always really good. You can hang out and stomp your feet, do a little boot scooting, and have a good time. So in the end, that's what it's really about, is you go and you get together, you help raise money for a good cause, and you can have a good time. So you can do both.
Absolutely. And, that's airpowerfoundation.org. You can get your tickets there. And you had a good idea. Now, we've got friends that they just go buy a table and they just have all their friends come and just have a big party.
Yeah. Why not?
That's right.
I mean, you're going to go spend money doing something on a weekend. Why not plan that's the weekend you're going to go spend money and do something fun?
Absolutely. Well, thank everybody for watching this episode of Hometown Heroes. And I'm so delighted that Mary Staffel decided to come and join us again.
Hey, and I do want to say before we leave everyone today, I did put out a message to our roll call members when I was behind on getting some stuff done. So I just sent out a quick text to everybody to say, hey, be a little patient with me. I got a lot going on. And I had hundreds of responses of encouragement. And that means a lot when you're going through. I had 3 losses in my family this year, and just between the middle of January and the end of April. And it really means a lot when you have a family like we have, but with roll call, that family is it really is our family. And it means so much to us to be able to be together and to comfort each other and share the burden with other people. So for everybody that reached out, I didn't email everybody back individually. It's just too much. I don't have that kind of time, but I want everybody to know how much I appreciate the thoughts and prayers.
We love and appreciate you because you work so hard and take care of so many people. You do so much for our veteran and military community, our Gold Star community, and you're just a real good all-around person.
Oh, thanks, Rick. Coming from you, that means even more because you do way more than I do.
I don't think so. Well, thank you all for watching this episode of Hometown Heroes. And we're going to let Don Graves sing God Bless America. And this was on his 100th birthday. Iwo Jima survivor Don Graves singing God Bless America on his 100th birthday.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairie, to the ocean. Why we're born. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, our home sweet home. Oh, thank you.
Thank you for being a part of Hometown Heroes podcast. Visit our YouTube channel and subscribe today. We look forward to seeing you next week on Hometown Heroes, the voice of heroes, the voice for heroes.